Revimbo Kachil wakes up before sunrise every day and thinks only about numbers, speed, and control. He built his transport empire by pushing people hard and cutting out anything he believes is weakness. He rarely looks at faces, never learns names, and moves through his offices like a machine. For him, workers are parts, not people, and feelings are delays that cost money. In the same company, a quiet woman named McKenna works after everyone leaves. She cleans floors, wipes desks, and empties bins without noise or complaint. No one thanks her, no one asks about her life, and that is how she has learned to survive. She finishes her tasks perfectly each night and disappears before morning, carrying worries she never shares. One morning, Revimbo walks through a hallway and stops. Something feels wrong. A section looks neglected, and it irritates him deeply. Order is his pride, and disorder feels like disrespect. He calls management and demands answers, his voice sharp and cold, expecting excuses and fear. The staff explains that the cleaner asked for 1 day away without pay. The reason sounds too small to matter, and Revimbo becomes annoyed. He dislikes requests, especially from people he never noticed before. Instead of forgetting it, he decides to see the truth himself, driven more by anger than care. Later, he follows the woman from a distance and ends up in a poor area of the city. She enters a weak-looking medical center, holding a thin child close. Inside, Revimbo sees her sitting beside a boy connected to tubes, her eyes full of fear but her hands steady. He learns that the child is her son, and that his life depends on urgent treatment. She had given her own blood to help him survive, choosing his life over her job. While sitting there, she whispers apologies to the child for not being able to give him more, blaming herself for their struggles. Those words hit Revimbo harder than any business loss ever did. For the first time, he feels shame instead of power. He leaves quietly, but his actions change. He covers all medical costs in silence and rewrites company rules to protect workers facing hardship. When McKenna returns to work, nothing looks different on the surface, but this time she is seen. And Revimbo finally understands that true strength comes from noticing people, not ignoring them. Night cleaner McKenna Jerome works quietly, never late, never absent, until one sudden day. She moves through dark offices when phones stop ringing and lights grow dim. Her shoes make soft sounds on the floor as she cleans, careful not to disturb anything. People leave before she arrives and return before she goes home, so her face stays unknown. She keeps her head down, finishes each task, and believes silence keeps trouble away. That routine breaks without warning. One night, her place is empty and the building feels different. By morning, a powerful man notices the change. He leads the company with strict rules and sharp orders. He trusts speed, pressure, and control. When something feels out of place, anger rises quickly. He asks questions, expecting careless mistakes, not a real reason. The answer he hears feels small to him. The woman asked for a single unpaid break because of a family issue. No drama, no long story. Still, the idea annoys him. He dislikes exceptions and hates anything that slows work. Curiosity mixes with irritation, pushing him to learn more with his own eyes. Later, he follows her steps across the city. The clean streets fade into cracked roads and tired buildings. She enters a weak clinic with peeling paint and long lines. Inside, the air smells of medicine and fear. He watches from a distance as she sits beside a thin boy on a narrow bed, holding his hand like it is the only thing keeping him here. Doctors speak softly. Time sounds expensive. She offers her blood to help him survive an operation. Her face stays calm, but her voice shakes when she speaks to the child. She says sorry for every hard night, every empty plate, every promise she could not keep. She blames herself for being unable to give him more. Those words reach the man standing nearby and crack something inside him. He remembers boardrooms and profits, but they feel hollow now. For the first time, he sees effort, love, and courage where he once saw nothing. He leaves without speaking, yet his choices change. Money covers treatment. Rules shift quietly. Help becomes possible without fear. When the cleaner returns to her job, the floors shine as always, but something new exists. Respect replaces distance. And a leader learns that real power begins when someone finally notices the unseen. Revimbo notices McKenna's section untouched and demands an explanation. He stops walking and looks again, certain his eyes are not wrong. The floor has dull marks, the bins are still full, and the desks look forgotten. Order matters to him more than sleep, so this small break feels like a loud insult. His jaw tightens as he calls his managers, his tone sharp and impatient. People rush to answer, nervous under his stare. Files are checked, messages searched, names spoken carefully. He learns the cleaner did not show up during the night. That alone feels unacceptable. Absence means failure in his world. He asks why no one replaced her, why rules were not followed, why this mistake reached him at all. Human Resources gives a short response. The worker asked for 1 day away without pay. The reason is personal. No emergency was listed. No proof was attached. To Revimbo, it sounds careless and weak. He believes personal problems should stay outside work walls. He sees discipline as the only fair system. Anger grows, but something else appears too. Curiosity. Why would someone who never missed a shift suddenly disappear? Why risk a job that barely pays enough to survive? He decides not to let the issue end with a report. Instead of returning to his office, he chooses to watch. Later that day, he waits and follows from a distance. The woman walks quickly, her shoulders tense. She does not head toward comfort or rest. She travels far from the clean city center into crowded streets. Dust replaces glass buildings. Noise replaces silence. She enters a small clinic that looks tired and overworked. Inside, the air feels heavy. Revimbo stands still as he sees her sit beside a weak child lying on a narrow bed. Machines beep softly. Her hands never leave the boy's arm. Doctors speak about blood, surgery, and time running out. She agrees to help without hesitation. While waiting, she leans close and whispers apologies to the child. She blames herself for hunger, sickness, and fear. She promises love even when she cannot promise comfort. Those words strike Revimbo harder than any complaint ever did. The missed work no longer feels like disobedience. It feels like sacrifice. He leaves quietly, carrying a truth he had ignored for years. In that moment, success begins to change its meaning for him. HR reveals McKenna requested 1 unpaid day off for family reasons. The room falls quiet after those words. Papers lie neatly on the table, yet tension fills the air. Revimbo listens with a hard face, expecting a stronger excuse. In his mind, work comes first, always. Requests without clear proof feel like excuses, and excuses feel like weakness. The officer explains that the woman did not ask for money, favors, or special treatment. She only asked for time. No long explanation was written. No emergency documents were attached. Just a short message, polite and careful, sent late at night. To Revimbo, it sounds careless. To him, rules exist to keep order. An order creates success. Still, something does not sit right. The cleaner has a record without faults. No missed shifts. No warnings. No complaints. That history makes this moment strange. Why would someone so careful suddenly risk losing everything? The thought stays with him longer than expected. He asks more questions, but there are no answers. The office has done its part. The case is closed in their eyes. Yet his irritation grows, mixed with doubt. For the first time, he wonders if numbers hide stories he never sees. Instead of letting it go, he makes a quiet decision. He wants to understand, not through reports, but through truth. Later that day, he watches from afar as the woman leaves her small home. Her steps are fast, her posture tense. She does not move like someone resting. She travels across the city, passing busy streets into poorer areas. Shops disappear. Roads crack. She enters a weak-looking medical center filled with waiting people and tired staff. Inside, the smell of medicine and worry hangs heavy. Revimbo stays back unseen. He watches her sit beside a thin boy lying still. Tubes run from his arm. Machines make soft sounds. She holds his hand and speaks gently, hiding fear behind calm words. Doctors explain what is needed. Blood. Time, money. Without hesitation, she agrees to help. She offers part of herself so the child can live. While waiting, she whispers apologies to the boy. She blames herself for pain, hunger, and sickness. Her voice shakes, but she does not cry. Those quiet words break something inside Revimbo. The request for time suddenly feels heavy with meaning. What he once called weakness now looks like courage. He leaves silently, changed by a truth no report could ever show. Suspicious and irritated, Ruvimbo decides to personally find out the truth. He leaves his office earlier than usual, choosing observation over reports. Something about the situation refuses to settle in his mind. A person known for perfect routine does not vanish without reason. He wants facts, not excuses, and believes seeing with his own eyes will end his doubts. From a distance, he watches the woman step outside her modest home. Her movements are quick, focused, as if time is chasing her. She carries no sign of rest or relief. Instead of heading toward comfort, she moves through crowded streets, changing buses, walking long paths, never slowing down. The city grows rougher with every turn, buildings worn and roads uneven. He keeps following, careful not to be noticed. His expensive shoes touch dusty ground, a place far from boardrooms and glass walls. The noise here is different. People wait, argue, hope. He feels out of place, yet keeps going, driven by a need he does not fully understand. She stops at a small medical center that looks tired and full. Paint peels from the walls. The line at the door barely moves. Inside, the air feels heavy with fear and patience. He stands quietly, watching as she rushes to a narrow bed where a weak child lies still. Her face softens in a way he has never seen during his daily walks through the company halls. She holds the boy's hand like it is the most valuable thing she owns. Doctors speak in low voices, explaining risks and urgency. Money, blood, and time become the only words that matter. Without hesitation, she agrees to help. Her strength shows not in loud actions, but in calm acceptance. While waiting, she leans close and whispers to the child. She says sorry for every hard moment, every empty night, every fear she could not erase. She promises love even when comfort is impossible. Those quiet words reach the man standing nearby and strike deeper than any business loss. His chest tightens. Numbers, rules, and discipline suddenly feel small. He realizes how little he has seen despite all his power. The world he built left no room for pain like this. He turns and walks away without being noticed. No anger remains, only understanding. In that moment, his idea of strength begins to change, shaped by sacrifice, not control. He follows McKenna and discovers her at a rundown clinic beside a fragile boy. The place looks old and tired, with cracked walls and faded paint. People sit close together, waiting quietly, their faces filled with worry. Ruvimbo stays near the door unseen, watching her move with purpose. This is not a visit for rest or comfort. Every step she takes carries fear and hope mixed together. She reaches a narrow bed where a small child lies weak and still. His breathing is slow, his skin pale, and his eyes barely open. Machines beside him make soft sounds that fill the room. McKenna sits down and gently holds his hand, as if her touch alone can keep him alive. Her face shows strength, but her eyes carry exhaustion from many sleepless nights. Doctors approach and speak in low voices. Their words are serious. They talk about urgent care, blood needs, and time running out. Ruvimbo listens from a distance. This world feels far from meetings and profits. Here moments decide lives. Money feels powerful, yet useless without compassion. McKenna nods as the doctors explain the process. She does not ask questions or complain. She simply agrees. When asked if she is ready, she answers softly but firmly. She gives part of herself so her child can survive. While waiting, she leans close and speaks gently to the boy, her voice shaking but controlled. She tells him not to be afraid. She says she is sorry for every day she could not give him enough food, warmth, or comfort. She blames herself for his pain, even though none of it is her fault. She promises to stay, no matter what happens. Tears fall, but she quickly wipes them away, not wanting him to see. Ruvimbo feels something tighten in his chest. He has seen many people ask for favors, money, and chances. He has never seen someone offer everything without asking for anything back. The absence at work no longer looks like neglect. It looks like love in its purest form. He looks around the clinic again. The broken chairs, tired nurses, and silent prayers tell stories he has ignored for years. Power suddenly feels empty without humanity. He understands that leadership without care creates blind spots. Without saying a word, he turns and leaves. No one notices him go. Yet he carries something new with him. A truth that cannot be ignored. A lesson learned not from success, but from sacrifice. McKenna skipped work to donate blood to her son Tyro Jerome, who needs surgery. The choice was not easy, but it was clear in her heart. She knew missing a shift could cost her the only job keeping food on the table. Still, a mother's fear is louder than any rule. That night, she walked away from routine and toward a place filled with risk. The medical center was small and worn down, crowded with people holding quiet prayers. She signed papers with shaking hands and sat on a hard chair while nurses prepared everything. Her body felt tired, yet her mind stayed strong. Every drop she gave carried one wish, that her child would live long enough to smile again. The boy lay nearby, thin and weak, his chest rising slowly. Machines made soft sounds beside him. McKenna watched every movement, afraid of missing even a second. She spoke gently, telling him stories to keep his eyes open. She hid her fear behind calm words, even though her heart felt like it might break. Doctors explained the operation again, using careful voices. Time mattered. Strength mattered. She listened closely and nodded. When they asked if she was ready, she answered without delay. Pain did not scare her. Losing him did. The needle touched her arm, and she looked away, thinking only of his future. As blood flowed, memories filled her mind. Long walks to school. Shared meals that were never enough. Nights spent worrying about money and sickness. She blamed herself for every hardship, even the ones beyond her control. Still, she never blamed the child. Her love stayed pure and strong. Nearby, someone watched quietly unseen. He saw not weakness, but courage. He understood that absence from duty was not laziness, but sacrifice. The rules he believed in began to feel small compared to what he witnessed. This moment changed how he viewed effort, responsibility, and worth. When the process ended, McKenna felt dizzy but relieved. She held her son's hand again, whispering promises she prayed to keep. Outside, the world continued as usual. Inside, a life balanced on hope. That single decision, made without noise or approval, carried more strength than years of hard work. It showed that love can demand everything, and still give more. Ruvimbo hears McKenna apologize to her son for being poor, and breaks down. He stands a short distance away, never meaning to listen, yet unable to move. Her voice is low, almost a whisper, but every word reaches him clearly. She tells the child she is sorry for the small meals, the worn clothes, the nights without light. She says she tried her best but knows it was never enough. The boy looks at her with weak eyes, too tired to speak. She brushes his hair gently and forces a soft smile, even as tears slip down her face. She tells him none of this is his fault. She promises that love is richer than money, even if the world does not see it that way. Her hands shake, but she keeps holding him, as if letting go would make everything fall apart. Those words hit Ruvimbo harder than any shout ever could. His chest tightens, and his breath feels heavy. He has fired people for smaller problems without a second thought. He has ignored lives like this every day, walking past them without seeing. In that moment, all his success feels loud and empty. Memories rush through his mind. Meetings where numbers mattered more than people. Orders given without care. Faces blurred together because he never bothered to learn their stories. He realizes how often he mistook silence for weakness and obedience for comfort. The truth hurts more than he expects. Tears rise before he can stop them. He turns away, ashamed of being seen, ashamed of himself. He presses a hand to his face, trying to steady his breathing. No deal, no profit, no victory has ever broken him like this. A simple apology spoken with love does what years of power never could. For the first time, he understands what real poverty is. It is not the lack of money, but the feeling of failing someone you love despite giving everything you have. He sees strength in her words, not failure. Courage in her sacrifice, not weakness. He leaves the clinic quietly changed. His steps feel slower, heavier. Something inside him has cracked open, letting empathy in. The world outside looks the same, but he is not. That moment becomes the line between who he was and who he can no longer be. Without cameras or announcements, Ruvimbo pays for treatment and changes company policies. He does not call meetings or seek praise. He moves quietly, making phone calls late at night and signing documents early in the morning. Bills disappear from the clinic desk. Doctors receive confirmation that everything needed will be covered. No one knows where the help came from, and that is exactly how he wants it. At work, he begins rewriting rules that once felt untouchable. Time off for family care becomes protected. Emergency support funds are created. Managers are instructed to listen before judging. Paperwork becomes simpler. Kinder, faster. He removes punishments that once hurt people already struggling. These changes happen calmly, almost silently, but they reach deep. Revimbo watches from a distance as the system shifts. Productivity does not fall as he once feared. Instead, loyalty grows. People arrive with lighter hearts. Effort increases not from fear, but from trust. He notices fewer mistakes, fewer absences, fewer tired eyes. For the first time, he understands that care can be a form of strength. He never visits the clinic again, but he checks reports often. Recovery moves forward step by step. That knowledge brings him peace he never found in profit charts. At night, he remembers the apology he heard and lets it guide his choices. It becomes a quiet promise to do better. Inside the company, something changes in the air. Supervisors greet workers by name. Small acts of kindness become normal. Help is offered without humiliation. The workplace begins to feel human, not mechanical. Revimbo does not take credit. He lets the culture speak for itself. At home, he reflects on the man he used to be. Success once meant control and distance. Now it means responsibility and awareness. He realizes leadership is not about standing above others, but standing with them when it matters most. The help he gives is not a gift, it is a correction. A way to balance years of blindness. He understands that some stories are not meant to be told loudly. Some actions matter most when they are done in silence. Though no one applauds him, something inside finally rests. He has learned that the strongest impact often leaves no trace of the hand that made it. And in choosing compassion over recognition, he discovers a deeper kind of victory. McKenna returns to work, but this time, as someone finally seen and valued. She walks into the building with the same uniform and the same quiet steps, yet everything feels different. The halls are just as long, the lights just as bright, but her heart is lighter. She no longer carries the fear that once followed her every night. People notice her now. A guard nods in greeting. A supervisor thanks her for her effort. Small words, simple actions, but they mean more than she ever expected. She is no longer invisible. Her presence matters, even when she says nothing at all. As she works, she feels a new sense of safety. She knows that if life becomes hard again, she will not be punished for choosing her family. The rules have changed, but more importantly, attitudes have shifted. Care is no longer seen as weakness. It is respected. Revimbo watches from afar without drawing attention. He does not interrupt or explain. He simply observes the calm confidence in her movements. For the first time, he sees the people who keep his company alive, not as shadows, but as humans with stories, fears, and strength. McKenna finishes her tasks with the same care she always had. She does not ask for special treatment. She does not seek sympathy. Her pride comes from knowing she did what she had to do and survived it. The weight on her shoulders has eased, replaced by quiet dignity. During breaks, workers speak more freely. Laughter returns to corners once filled with silence. Trust grows slowly but steadily. The workplace feels warmer, not because of luxury, but because of understanding. McKenna feels part of something instead of apart from it. At home, her child grows stronger day by day. Hope replaces fear. She carries that hope with her each night, letting it guide her hands as she works. Every clean floor feels like a step forward, not just for her, but for others like her. Revimbo learns his final lesson without words. Leadership is not measured by distance or fear, but by the lives quietly improved along the way. McKenna does not know who changed her world, and she does not need to. Her return is not dramatic. There is no applause, yet it carries power, because being seen, after a lifetime of silence, is its own kind of victory. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories like this.